Hello guys, Rippabout1 here, and today I have the deck profile of what I used at YCS London at the XL this year. Now, this is the deck that I used to win 4-4 at YCS in the first day. I did pretty good. I beat a Prophecy deck, 2 Burning Abyss, and a Mirror Match. So I guess that's not too bad for my second YCS, seeing as this is my first top tier deck going to YCS. And I hope you guys like the deck profile. This is my own personal build. I like it very much, so please don't be too negative on it. So here it is, guys, my deck profile for my Satellarknights. Okay, we're going to start off with the basics. The triple Deneb. Now, triple Deneb is pretty staple in the deck. Without Deneb, you couldn't run it because you wouldn't be able to get your max amount of searches and your max amount of power. Next is something that most people wouldn't run, Triple Vega. Now, Triple Vega is a very good card in my opinion. Now, the reason I use it is because I go into Deltaros a lot in my deck, and I like to rank 3 spam a lot. Especially with the new support that's coming out this week, I would love to be able to make the new XCs a lot more often. So it would be very useful for Vega. Also, if I can go first turn when I have Vega and a Deneb in hand, I can go Vega then Deneb, then go into an instant XCs, and if I go one second, I could do damage. So I could have an opportunity of a Master of Blades, or wait, no, not Master of Blades, sorry, a Blade Armor Ninja, or even a Mace Stroke, just to keep defense or offensive. So that is why I use Vega, because I have my special summon opportunities. Now next is some more pretty staple stuff. Triple Ultir. Now Ultir is basically the wolf buck of the deck. Without Ultir you wouldn't be able to use your Deneb properly because you couldn't keep on spamming your Deneb to search out the cards you need. So without Ultir and Deneb in the deck you could not play it properly. I also run Triple Yugioh, or as I like to call him, Yugioh. Basically, Yugioh is your Foolish Barrel. You use him to get your Deneb or Alsham engraved. Without him you could not Foolish, and if you just open up with him and an Ultir, then you can go for an instant Deneb next turn, because you could just summon Yugioh and then do your stuff next turn. Okay, next card is Satellarknight Alsham. I only run one of him, simply because he's 1000 burn and he's a 14 beat, so I don't really see him being very useful in the deck except for burn. So if I want to go, if it's late game, my opponent's on like 18 or 100 or less, then I could just go Alsham, so I could go Ultir, Alsham, then instant Cowboy for game. So that's mainly why I run one Alsham, because he's burn damage only, and he's alright unless you're trying to just burn someone. And finally for the monsters, one Honest, because they attack my light monsters, I drop Honest, their monster dies. Simple. So that's the monsters. I think it's pretty good for my Satellar deck. I have been playing it very well, and I have always come an average of 3 wins at my locals with it so far. So next is the spells. Now this is obviously going to be staple in the deck. It's going to be triple Reinforcements of the Army, Rota, as other people call it. Basically, this is your Deneb. This can be a Deneb for you, or it could be an Ultir. So you open up with this or something else very good. You instantly search, get what you need, and do your plays. So you always run triple Rota, otherwise the deck would not work. Same with the Deneb. I also run triple MST, which most people aren't running this format, but I find it very useful because if you're playing against a deck that is playing heavy back row, and because the people don't expect MST, you can really much anymore. You can just activate MST and hit whatever they try, because they could be running a Fiendish Chain or something worse. I also run 2 Satellarknight Skybridge. Now, from what I've been seeing, not many people have been using Skybridge. Skybridge is a very good card in my opinion, simply because if you open up with one Satellar, you can just set this card with all the other cards in your hand. Then next turn, if he attacks into your monster, you can just go Skybridge, instant Deneb, or Yugioh. then do your play and either get a search or just get Deneb Engrave. So I don't see why most people don't run this. It can be an instant Deneb or even or a better or a special beatdown card for your next turn. So I don't know why people don't run this, but I like it very much simply because I can special summon from my deck. I also run 2 Lance, simply because Lance it can be very good this format, simply because also, as most people haven't realised, Satellas are very weak. Most monsters this format are more than 1500, and you've only got really 2 monsters that go over that, your Ultir and your Yugioh. So I run Lance mainly as a saver for my XE summons and maybe even my monsters, and to decrease my opponent's attack, so if they attack into me, they lose their monster. So Lance can be very good in this format. It's also why I also see people running Chalice instead, but I find that very bad because you're also giving them a 400 beat boost in their attack. So I prefer Lance over Chalice. I also run 2 Pot of Duality. Basically, if you don't open up with any of your cards that you need, you can just go Duality, hopefully get what you need and make your plays. I also run 1 Raigeki, simply because of the nuke field, and 1 Dark Hole, same reason as Raigeki, just so I can get over my opponent's field and do my plays easier. And I run 1 Soul Charge, simply because all the Satellar effects activates on summon. So that's the spells. Now for the traps. Now I run 2 Alpha. Now most of you probably think, why do I run 2 Alpha? Now I run 2 Alpha simply because it can sometimes get cloggy, and I would prefer to have something else other than Alpha sometimes. Sure, if I draw into an Alpha at 2 Alpha and a monster, that would be cool, but 1 Alpha is usually enough as long as you get 1 monster. If you run 3 and you just get a handful of spells and traps with no Alpha, with 1 Alpha, then you're wasting one of your resources, because that 1 Alpha could be something even better like a Deneb or even maybe a Vega, so you could make your plays. So that's why I run 2 Alpha, because of it's actually very hard to play the deck, because most people think it's auto run. It is auto run a bit, but the Stellar Nova Alpha can be very backfiring if you don't get your monsters. So that's why I run this. I run 2 Fiendish Chain, simply because my opponent's effects can be activated and I don't really want them to get their effects off. I run 2 Cooler Haunted. Now most of you are probably thinking the same as the Alpha. Why 2 Cooler Haunted? Well, Cooler Haunted can be very cloggy. Sure, if you open up with it when you have a monster in hand, it's very good as well, but it's the same reason as Alpha. If you have no monsters in your graveyard, then Cooler Haunted is dead. So I prefer it more as a late game card than an early game card, simply because I can get my players off, but I prefer to have this as a late game. I also run 1 Breakthrough Skill, simply because Breakthrough Skill, if it's kind of like 2 cards in one, because of during my turn I can banish it, negate an effect on the field, and I can also negate something by activating it myself. So I can actually do very good with the 1 Breakthrough over than 2. I also run 1 TT. Now most people aren't running TT this format because of Shadows and Burning Abyss, but there's still other decks out there that can be wrecked just by TT. Especially in the mirror match. If it wasn't for this, I probably wouldn't have won my mirror match. So yeah, TT is a very good card. Compulsory activation device, simply because it's compulse and you're playing against Burning Abyss or Shadows. Just back to hand, Winder, back to hand, Dante, back to hand, Construct. Yes, I know they're to the extra deck, but still, it's still a very good card this format, which is maybe underrated by some people, but it's still good. Solemn Warning, it simply because its effect, negate a summon, it can be very good in mirror matches, against Shadows, against Burning Abyss, so I've run it because of those reasons. And 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, simply because it's a good card this format. Now for the extra deck, I run Triple Deltaros. Now most of you guys are thinking, why Triple Deltaros? Now, like I said earlier, I run Triple Vega because I like my rank 3 plays. And if it's not for the rank 3s, I mean, not rank 3, sorry, triple rank 4s, then I wouldn't be able to go for most of my plays. And also, if you're using an ult here, you can't attack with any other monsters but Satellas. So I can go into Deltaros and then still be able to beat down with attack and also pop a card on their field, which is why I run this. I run one Ouroboros simply because I can compulse cards, banish cards, and it's basically it's an evil swarm which is turned into a Trishula. Well, Trishula has been consumed by the evil swarms. It's basically a triple rank 4, which is very good. Those are the triple rank 4s. I know it's a small amount, but it's still very good. I run one Rhapsody to banish my opponent's grave, so in case they get playing dragon rulers, I can banish 2 rulers over them having them for later. One Cowboy for going for game. One Maestroke for defense, simply because Maestroke can also be a very good card. Because of defensive in this game, it can be very good, especially when your opponent's playing Shadows and they have a construct. This can actually survive a turn for you. So if it's not for if you don't use this, I suggest you do. One Yugioh Emerald, simply because you can go through your materials very fast. If it's not for Yugioh Emerald, I probably would have lost some of my games as well, so I couldn't recycle my Ultia back into the deck, and maybe even a Vega. One Exciton for those nukes. So Exciton is pretty stable nowadays. Nuke the field, stop people from getting their plays, all of that. So basically, I run him for those reasons. One Starliege Paladynamo, negate any effects that activate, negate any effects and put the attack to 0. Heartland Draco, if I can go for game into a direct attack. Black Ship of Corn for those monsters that just won't die, like a Maestroke or something. 101 for robbing my opponent's monsters. Blade Armor Ninja for those double attacks, and Constellar Omega for the negation of the effect for spells and traps to stop it from being effective. Now I'm going to show you my side deck, which I sided at YCS. Now for YCS I sided 2 Kaiku. Now Kaiku is a very good card. People don't seem to realize this, but Kaiku is an 18-beat monster. Your opponent cannot banish, and you can banish their cards for them. So you just summon this, deal some damage, they lose 2 cards from their grave. So if you're playing Light Swarms, this can be very good against them, simply because you can just go attack, banish 2 Light Swarms, their JD's gone. They can't come back if they can't get JD. So this is why Kaiku is a very good card this format, I think, because it can do a lot of things to a lot of decks. 2 Flying Sea for the mirror matches, Burning Abyss, and Constellas maybe. This is very good simply because my opponent summons 2 monsters, I go Flying Sea on their field, and they can't do anything to stop it. So Flying Sea can be a very good card this format. It's already a very good card this format. Those are the monsters I sided. Now for the spells, I sided 1 Mind Crush for mirror matches, decks that run level 4 monsters, and other reasons. I run triple Nobleman of Crossout simply because of the Shadow matchups, and it's no other reasons really, just because of the Shadow matchups. So those are the spells. And my trap side is actually very big, so I understand why you'd think it. Now this is pretty basic. 2 Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors. Now Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is basically for the matchups against Burning Abyss and Shadows again, or maybe even Evil Swarms. Well, probably not Evil Swarms, but still, and maybe Dark Gods as well. Seeing as you can just activate this, they can't activate their effects in grave, so you get a lot of effects. You can actually win the game just by putting down a Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. You can easily win if you just do that. 2 Mind Crush. Now Mind Crush is for mirror matches and Burning Abyss, because they can just search a tour guide out, I call Mind Crush and tour guide is gone, so I can actually give advantage over them very easily. Next is a Breakthrough Skill. Now I run 1 Breakthrough Skill on deck like you saw, and 1 in my extra deck, simply because I can go for negations during the other games, and if I need an extra negation, Breakthrough Skill in my extra deck is always there. So that's why that's there. Soul Drain. Now this is probably what you're thinking, why not another Shadow Imprisoning Mirror? Well, there are other decks out there like Yang Zings, which can actually do a lot of damage to you. So Soul Drain can actually be a very good card if you activate it. Also, it can stop other decks like Burning Abyss and Shadow still, so you've got an extra side against them, but you can actually stop other decks. And also Madolche can still be a thing in this meta. I also run side 1 Call the Haunted in case I need to side out my soul charge, and Call the Haunted is there for an extra summon. Now guys, tell me what you think of my deck, tell me if you think it's actually quite good, and tell me what you think if I did good about YCS. Thank you guys for watching, RobberBat1 here, and he's signing out.